hardest thing about being president? Well, there were a number of things. Lots of them, jobs that had to be done and all of that. But I think much of it, however, had to do with the fact that wherever we had to be or wherever we had to go, the well, Secret Service protectors and so forth. And in the White House, beautiful as it is and very comfortable to live in, you could stand up there in the White House and looking out the window at Pennsylvania Avenue and see the people walking back and forth, and you'd know that you couldn't go down and walk out there and walk down that street to the drugstore to buy a paper or something. Wherever we had to go with company security, and that just goes with the job. And they're wonderful people, security people. They do for you, but I think that the fact that round the clock, you were on the job. Yes, you frequently so many major things going on in the world, and you would be faced with people that were all involved and were doing these things. I think one of the nicest things that I did like about the job was the promotion of the country. When there was some special heroic deed, they would bring the person that had performed that heroic deed, male and female, to the Oval Office, and you would get to see them and meet these people that have done these heroic things.
No, it's very exciting and challenging, frustrating at times, frightening at times, but you have the chance to pursue an interest that you have. In my case, it was the drug problem. And you have a platform that you will never have again in your whole life, and you better use it and try to. It was great. There were some, there are ups and downs, as there are in life.
I can add one thing to that also. She did a wonderful job, not only throughout the country, but the world, with children like yourselves, and then on up and college and so forth, and the drug problem that we face. And she formed an organization that is nationwide dealing with. Well, I didn't know I was shot for a long time, until after we got to the hospital. The shooting started, I was coming out of a hotel in Washington where I made a speech. It was in the morning. And the limousine had pulled up and the car door was open. And suddenly I heard this pop, pop, pop. I thought it was fireworks. And it was a Secret Service agent right behind me. And as I said, hey, is that fire? And the next thing I knew, he grabbed me from behind here and just dived me into the car. And I learned later, when I discovered that I had been shot, the bullet, the man was shooting at me, the bullet caromed off the side of the car. And as I was diving in, and hit me right up in here, the 7th rib. And from there, we found out later when they had to operate that it tumbled down and stopped a quarter of an inch from my heart. But I landed across that seat divider in the back seat. The Secret Service man dived in on top of me. They do that to cover and protect you and so forth. And the car pulled out, and he got up and turned to one of the front seats there. And I got up, and suddenly I had a handful of bright red blood. And I said, I thought, the only thing I thought, that he had broken a rib when he jumped on me. And I said, with that bright, frothy blood, I said, and that rib has probably punctured a lung. And the next thing we know, he had said to the hospital, and we were on our way to the hospital. And all the way I was catching blood in my handkerchief, and then I was using his handkerchief. And we got to the hospital, and I got out and walked in and met a nurse coming at the emergency entrance. And I said, I'm having a little trouble breathing. And then for the first time, my knees got rubbery, and I began to sag. And the next thing I knew, they had me on a gurney, and we were in the hospital. And they found out. I still didn't know. They found out I had been shot where the bullet had gone. Where am I? Well, see right over here on this side, right behind the two girls, with my hand on my chin, that's me. That was in the town where I was born, Tampico, Illinois.
Do you want me to show you the girl that he had the crush on? Now, if you look at this girl, you can see how we got married. She's in the front row, and she's the third one in.
That kind of checkered shirt.
Dark-haired girl, dark eyes.
This is me over here. That's my brother. That's my mother and father. And again, in Tampico, where I was born. 7 days a week, from morning until whatever time at night they were swimming. And so I could save every penny that I earned as being lifeguard. This wasn't a place to spend it. I was there all the time. And I can't resist telling you that there in the river, we had a pier and we had a diving board and things of that kind, and a big raft anchored out there. Sometimes people who couldn't swim too well would try to swim upstream against the current to the raft and so forth, and they wouldn't make it. Instead of just turning around and floating back down to the docks, I had to go in and get them. And there was a big log that had washed in one of the spring floods up there among those trees on the beach. And I was encouraged by my boss to do something there. And that was that every time I had to save somebody and pull them out, I cut a notch in the log. And I was there 7 summers, high school and college. And by the time I was through swimming out of college, through lifeguarding there, I had 77 notches in the log.
Oh my goodness.
Which meant I pulled out 77 people.
It must have taken you a long time making the boats, the ships.
Oh yes,
Long time.
yes, very much so.
Yeah.
By the time I finished the second one, I was through making boats. That's Dixon, Illinois.
Dana,
Kids, let me help you logistically.
Couldn't keep him pace with him. He was doing 60 miles an hour. And suddenly the chicken spurted out ahead of him. And he looked to him as if the chicken had 3 legs. And then he turned and went down
hey, let's keep going. Keep moving. Gotta keep moving.
Wait, are you guys in? Are you guys? They don't have it on our name tags. What are you doing? Oh yeah. No, probably what I'd like to do is just have a polling of all the pictures of all the names.
While she loved being the first lady for 8 years at the White House with her
Okay,
Boys and girls, can you say thank you, President, and Mrs. Reagan, on the count of
tell them goodbye.
The rest of you run out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
I hope you enjoy the
I
rest
will
of the
see
day.
about sending more of these to those of you who didn't get them. 3rd grade.
And then we will go back and do our tour. Okay?
No, I gotta get more in there. I was something else. I didn't know if I.